Yes, that light shines ever so brightly as our music, as our harmony, as each other, as the message that Kaleem has for us today. It shines ever so brightly as love, as trust, as wholeness and oneness. Today, allow your light to shine, and so it is. Today, we acknowledge the African American holiday of Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is a cultural holiday celebrating family, community, and culture. Kwanzaa is celebrated for 7 days, December 26th through January 1st. It is based upon 7 principles symbolized by 7 candles. The candles are lit accumulatively for each day until all candles are lit on the 7th day. Today, we will light 2 candles for the first 2 days of Kwanzaa. Our candle lighter is Kaleem's grandson, Asante, accompanied by Kaleem's son and Asante's father, Khalil. Please welcome them. Our first candle is Umoja, to strive for and to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, race, and with all of humanity. The second candle is Kujichagulia, self-determination, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create and speak for ourselves. We will not be lighting the remaining candles at this time. However, they are Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Ujama, cooperative economics. Nia, purpose. Kaumba, creativity. Imani, faith. We thank Asante and Khalil for lighting our candles for today's service. Thank you very much. And acknowledging the beauty celebration of Kwanzaa. Thank you. Please join me in our purpose, vision, and mission. Our purpose, our reason for being. We awaken and inspire love and oneness. Our vision, what do we want to create or become? We are an empowered, uplifting, inclusive community. And our mission, how are we going to do this? We teach spiritual transformation with grace and joy. I love that. Our sacred reading today is excerpted from Dr. Maulana Karinga, creator of Kwanzaa, the African American holiday. And the article is Kwanzaa and the Well-Being of the World, Living and Uplifting the 7 Principles. Los Angeles Sentinel, pages 24, on December 24th, 20, page A1. The second principle, Kajichagulia, self-determination, teaches us we must think and act for ourselves and define ourselves by the good we choose and do in the world. It speaks to our right and responsibility to be ourselves and free ourselves and make our own unique contribution to the radical re-imaging and remaking of our societies and the world. And Kajichagulia stresses our moral obligation to reaffirm and support this right for others especially those oppressed and struggling for freedom, those wronged and injured and struggling for justice, and those disempowered and struggling for power over their destiny and daily lives. And so it is.
My soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you. My soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you. Oh Lord, my God, you are my strength. You carry me on your wings. You are in me, you know my heart, and my soul sings out to you. My soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you. My soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you. Your constant blessings flow to me like a mighty river to my heart. You are my life, you set me free, and I will love you forever and ever and ever and ever, forever and ever and ever and ever, forever. Soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you. My soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you.
Hello, my name is Karen Blair Sherman. I am one of the licensed practitioners here at the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. And we are so grateful and blessed and honored that you are joining us today via Zoom. And so one of the wonderful things that we like to do here at the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living as practitioners is to pray. And there are still many ways that you can receive prayer. You can go to our website, and there's a place for you to click and send a prayer request, and Reverend Linda sends those requests out to us regularly. You also may join any one of us. You can reach out to any one of us, and we are willing to pray with you at any time. Rev Don is usually here Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, or you can leave a message and he will tap one of us and ask us to reach out to you directly too. So please know that prayer is ever and always available. It is a breath away, a phone call away. There's also many ways that you can say yes starting in January. We have 2 classes that are coming up, the mental equivalence, and Tony Shannon, our licensed practitioner, will be doing that via Zoom. It's 5 weeks on Tuesdays, January 19th through February 16th from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And we also have a self-mastery class that will be done by Linda Steiner, who is also another licensed practitioner, for 8 weeks on Thursdays, January 14th through March 4th from 6:30 till 9:30 p.m. Next Sunday, we have Esther Nicholson. She has joined us before. She will be joining us via Zoom. She will be doing the talk. It will be Facebook Live still. and there will be a workshop that follows via Zoom. More details to come from that. But Esther Nicholson is an international speaker, a teacher, author of Soul Recovery, 12 Steps for Rest of Us. I got a one-on-one session with her the last time that she was here, and she is amazing. So I look forward to seeing Esther. Before we close, Anne will be coming up, and we'll have some special music. But before I walk off from here, I want to let you know that we are honored and blessed to have Kaleem talking to us today. Yes, it is a great blessing. And he is going to be talking about Kwanzaa, a spiritual outlook, and I'm looking very forward to his talk. He has been a spiritual practitioner for many years, and we call him our father of practitioners, and so it's wonderful. Okay, Anne.
Hello, I just wanted to give a special thank you to all those who participated in our winter solstice last Monday night. It was a special, magical occasion, and Linda Steiner and I were co-chairs, and we had a great group of people all working together. Tiffany and Neil set up 200 luminaries along our path that Bob Corpin used his snowblower. It was about the length of a football field around the park. And Zoe helped shovel out the areas where we had several stations set up, and people stopped to pray, stopped to release what no longer served them, and stopped to set an intention. And along this path, Tiffany and her grandkids helped set up the luminaries, and it was a beautiful, beautiful sight. Joan Heidel was our greeter, and she bundled up and sat outside and organized everyone into groups that we walked around with and guided them through every station in groups of 10 and honored our COVID rules of keeping a distance yet working together. And I appreciate Judith Mack and Dana staying and helping us pick up the lights and get everything back in the cars. We had about 50 to 60 people come that evening, and it was a beautiful evening, about 20 degrees, and just before the gale force winds hit that night. So it had, like Zoe said, it had God sparkles all over it. So thank you again, and we look forward to working together in 2021. Thank you. And now Zoe has a special song that she wrote and sings.
We're gonna wing it. Oh, there we go. God's got a sense of humor. I sit in silence. I show respect. Take time to listen and reflect. I walk a straight path, paved in kindness, freely giving, never looking back. 'Cause I believe in everything I see. Be it Jesus, all of oneness, God or love. Yes, I believe, and that's what makes me free. Be it Jesus, all of oneness, God or love. Commitment to the art of living, purposeful and true. Commitment to the art of living and loving all you do. I sit in silence. I Take time to listen and reflect. I walk a straight path, paved in kindness, freely giving, never looking back. 'Cause I believe in everything I see. Be it Jesus, Allah, oneness, God, or love. Yes, I believe, and that's what makes me free. Be it Jesus, Allah, oneness, God, or love. Be it Jesus, Allah, oneness, God, or love. Be it Jesus, Allah, oneness, God, or love. Jesus, Allah, oneness, God, it's all love.
Thank you, Zoe. That was a beautiful song, an original. And thank you, Aaron. Okay. And I want to thank you also, Karen, for your introduction and for your wonderful being a practitioner of the day. And I also want to pay tribute to the wonderful Solstice celebration we had last week, because I was a participant, and for one of the first times as a practitioner, I didn't have any duties that night, so I actually was a participant. And it was truly an uplifting experience. It was very, I was really just caught by surprise, because it was the walk, this football-sized field at the park had been turned into an outside sanctuary. It was absolutely wonderful. And my spirit was absolutely lifted and touched from the experience. I always like to remind us also that during today's service, I want to invite you to bring to mind, especially I should say during my talk and during the whole service, bring to mind that which is on your mind, your heart today. As we all know, we as a whole global community, we're going through a historical pandemic challenge. And it's affecting all of us in many different ways. For some of us, we're very affected directly, meaning that it's actually the illness that actually affected our household, our places of employment. Some of us are being challenged in paying our daily expenses, our homes, and providing food for our families. Then there are those of us who also, in the many roles we're playing, we're also what we call our essential workers on the direct line of this pandemic, serving our fellow human beings as medical attendants, serving us food for pickup at restaurants and at the grocery stores, being of service to us. And some of us, of course, have experienced the actual direct effect of the illness. Either we've been affected by ourselves personally and had direct family members, and oftentimes even the loss of life. In addition to that, many of us are going through our own life challenges anyway, on top of all that. So, and I think it's really important, I like to encourage us, when we come to spiritual service, bring your stuff here, okay? Bring what's going on in your life so that when we leave here, we want to give you a little more light, a little more encouragement. So not only do we want to survive this, but we also want to thrive through this. And therefore, I always like to remind us of who we are and why we're gathered here. And of course, we're gathered here now by cyberspace, like I like to call it, right? It used to be a full audience here. Now we're a full audience not only in this room, but also possibly in your living room or your bedroom, wherever room it may be in. But most importantly, we've gathered here in a certain consciousness. For we are the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. Now, why do I want to emphasize that oftentimes when I give talks? Because I do know that in all the life challenges, we believe in the whole person and all of life. It's important that we recognize how important it is to extend ourselves with our talents, our human talents and our skills. It's important that we have psychological knowledge about ourselves as human beings and social information about how we work together collectively. And we're talking a lot about that today. But also here at the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living, we're part of a worldwide community. And our focus is not only inclusive of all those pre-mentioned things, but also we remind you there's something extra that we count on, and we believe in, and we use daily in our lives, and that is spiritual consciousness. So today, as I'm talking about Kwanzaa, a spiritual outlook, I'll be interweaving in our talk the idea of the spiritual background to what we do here at the Alaska Center of Spiritual Livings and all the centers of spiritual livings around the world, and all spiritual groups, whether it be centers or churches or synagogues or mosques, all of us who are come together in collective groups in our grander consciousness with the upliftment of all of humanity. And that's what we're here for today. And I want to also remind you, I have a little rhyme I'm going to invite you to repeat after me. Okay? I am one with the highest power.
I am one with the highest power.
I am one with the God within.
I am one with the God within.
I am one with all of creation.
I am one with all of creation.
We are one family.
We are one family.
So that's always the intention of my talks. Now, just like if we take a road trip, us who are in Alaska, if we happen to take a road trip to Denali Park, which is several hundred miles from here, you may decide to take some off turns, right, and visit some little villages or little towns on the way. And so sometimes when we talk about specific challenges or problems that's going on in our society, it's like we've taken some off trips to address certain issues, but the main thing is the grand mountain, right? We head to Denali Park. Okay, and so even though we may be taking a little detour right now, it's always about oneness and that power that lives within each and every one of us. Now, as I'm talking today, this is really about human growth and development. Some of us have taken psychological classes, sociological classes, or counseling classes. And we have this thing what's called human lifespan development. And I think you all can identify with this. There are parts of our lives when we're very young as an infant, we're not even conscious of life. That's called the unconscious part of life. And then as we grow and develop, we become aware of just one thing, that something that feeds me, okay? But now it's called self-centeredness. It's all about me and my needs. And when I cry out, hopefully there's something that responds and fulfills that needs. Then as we continue to grow, we become other conscious. We begin to realize, well, in addition to me, there's also other beings in the world and other things in the world. And of course, we have fun when we have our children, and my grandson, who's a toddler, you want to crawl under the tables and behind things and stick your fingers in little holes in the walls, right? And because I'm discovering there's something outside of me, and it's my job to discover that. And of course, as we continue to grow and develop, we also get a family consciousness. I begin to realize, this appears to be like this is my household, this is my family. This is me. This is what's really important to me. Then as we continue to grow, we go through the other phase of life in which, what's really important to me is my friends. Okay? Parents, they're whatever. They kind of feed me, whatever they do. But what's really important to me is to be with my friends. And then hopefully we continue to grow and develop. Beyond our family, our friends, and our ethnic group or culture, we continue to grow and develop. Then we become involved in civic duties, voting, or we give of our time and our talents and skills to the grander community in addition to the work that we may be doing. And then I would hope we continue to grow. Now you can imagine at any stage of this human lifespan development, if I would stop at the stage of unconsciousness, we would call that arrested development. If I would stop at the stage only being concerned about what feeds me, that'd be arrested development. If I would stop at the stage that I'm only concerned about me or my immediate family, that's also arrested development. And if I'm only concerned about my culture, my ethnic group, that's also another grander degree of ethnic arrested development. And then we can get to the nationalism, in which we're only concerned about our nation, okay? And that's called extreme nationalism. And we've already seen throughout history how that has become dangerous. But hopefully, as we are doing today, and as our Center for Spiritual Living stands for, we want to move on to a global consciousness. That's why one of the visions that we have for the Centers for Spiritual Living worldwide is to help to create a world that works for everyone, where there's enough food, enough shelter, enough clothing, enough education and inspiration and aspirations for everyone. And then we move on from there, from our global consciousness to what we're talking about here at the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. It's called that cosmic consciousness or spiritual consciousness. That's why we're the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. We acknowledge and embrace the whole person, mind, body, soul. We embrace that which we are, both as a gender or non-binary, whatever identity may be. And we embrace our own culture, and we embrace all cultures. We embrace our own religious path, and we honor, as we'll often see on Sundays, we'll light a candle for the world spiritual paths. And I feel that because of this consciousness, we are a healthy contribution to our world consciousness, because we're pushing beyond what I call the limited thinking, the arrested development, so that we can expand and live and grow as a human race with an expanded consciousness. At the same time, of course, as part of our human living and social living, things happen. And there's as we're experiencing today, as I already mentioned, and throughout history, there's been great challenges to us as human beings. However, there's something beautiful about you and I as human beings. We continue to grow and expand. And what we encourage us to do here at the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living and New Thought Philosophies, and I would say that any path that once you get to that cosmic consciousness of infinite agape love, you begin to realize that you too are one with this highest power. And all the world philosophies support that in some way or another. Even you can know even in the Judaic Christian faith traditions, in the beginning was what? God. And from nothing and God, we all were created. So in our logical thinking, if in the beginning there was only this one thing that we call God or the infinite or whatever names we say, and there was nothing else to create from, and we happen to become out of this creation, it would appear to us we're some part of this God. There's some part of it, some element, some spark of the divine. And we'll see that most world philosophies teach this in one form or another. And even part of Jesus' last part of his mission, he encouraged us to be as one, even as he and his Father were at one. So the whole oneness idea. And what do we have the power to do then? So if we are part of this one, there's a divine spark within each one of us. That's why it's so important that I honor not only the God within me, but also the God within thee, within you. And this makes now a balanced human being and a balanced society. And because we know as part of this, we have the ability to then to co-create our life experiences. So therefore, our topic today, of course, Kwanzaa, a spiritual outlook. And particularly, I'll be emphasizing the second principle of Kwanzaa that was so beautifully read by Karen. It's on the second principle of Kwanzaa. It's called Kujichagulia, self-determination. Now, what is the self-determination on a spiritual concept? Well, on the spiritual concept, we're reminded that if we have the spark of divinity within us, then we have the ability to co-create our life experiences. And as my subtitle goes, as co-creators, we are free to create what we desire to feel whole. Isn't that what all of us want to feel? We all as individuals, whether we're an infant or a nation, we all want to feel whole. We all want to feel prosperous in life. We all want to feel whole in body, in emotions, in all of our outer affairs. And as we know, as we practice and teach here at the Centers for Spiritual Living, wholeness and prosperity is more than materialism. It includes materialism, and it's more than that. Wholeness and prosperity is an overall feeling that all is well. And regardless of what I'm facing in front of me, I have the confidence that I can go within as well as seek without, because all is God. And I'll have the resources from the infinite source to respond to my needs. Co-creators, we are free to create what we desire to feel whole. We want to feel whole. Now, why do we want to feel whole rather than perceive whole? Well, feeling brings on the idea of the whole person. You know, I can think something, but when I feel it, now I'm experiencing it in life. Feeling also brings about the idea of imagination. When I feel like things are going well, my whole beingness is involved in perceiving that all is well. Now, I mentioned that we have the ability to create our experiences. So what is creation? Well, I think we all would recognize that there's this something that we call God, or here at the spiritual living, we call it spirit, and we also like to refer to as the infinite. I think we all can recognize there is something infinite that it is the creator of all that is, and it's so grand and so infinite, we really can't comprehend it with our human perceptions as we continue to expand trying to comprehend it. All right. However, we do recognize that it appears like just from the idea of a thought, all that we have today now exists, and more is yet emerging. So we can imagine the infinite doing this. You know, the cosmos itself, the beautiful planet Earth that we have, that I have a deeper sense of compassion and affection toward the planet Earth as a living being. All this wonderful creation and the infinite expressions of life itself. Creation, it appeared like it created from nothing. Well, bring it down to a personal level, you and I, we're also co-creators of our experience. We also have that spark of divinity within us, the ability to create and to reshape things, reimagine things to our highest good and for our benefit. Now, it appears like, based on your world philosophy, we too have the idea to think just simply from thought and to create from thought. We can imagine things that had never existed. Now, we also might say, well, since the infinite created everything to begin with, all you're really doing, human beings, is reformatting. That's okay. That's what we do, okay? But the point is that we have the ability to create or recreate, reformat our life experiences to meet our needs. That's why today, we are not total victims of our environment. We figured out how to have clothing and to make beautiful clothing, not only to meet our utility needs, but also artistic needs. We figured out how to have transportation. And now we can not only walk through the planet Earth with beautiful shoes, they call red bottoms, I think they call them. Okay, all right. We apply art to them, but we also now can fly throughout the air, not only by hundreds of miles per hour, but on our spaceships by 17,000 miles or more per hour as we circle the planet Earth and beyond. So we have this magnificent ability as co-creators of life experience to create things beyond our former imagination and to live a better and more prosperous life. Human growth and development, going beyond what we see in front of us now and creating grander things. Now, we also know that we just recently, during this time of year, we've experienced a wonderful celebration such as Solstice celebration, Hanukkah celebration we recognized recently, as well as we just did a couple of days ago, we just finished the wonderful celebration of Christmas. And now we're here in the celebration of Kwanzaa. And notice that most of these celebrations that I just mentioned include light. So can you imagine thousands of years ago, if not hundreds of years ago for some of the life cultures, in which we were totally victims of our environment. And as the earth went through changes from season to season, when there was not direct sunshine for long periods of time, we were talking about literally months, life was not that grand. We had to run and chase our food. We could not grow things in the northern hemisphere, particularly I'm speaking of. And therefore, the idea of being aware of the seasonal changes and the coming of the sun, it's like a rebirth or resurrection process, was critically important to us. Therefore, what did we do? from the need for wanting the sun and having, and also in some nations as well, some cultures and ancient cultures, is that this was a terrifying experience. It was not, today we take it very light because of our human knowledge, but it was a terrifying experience because we wanted that heat and that sun, and the rebirth was very important to us. Even today in the tropical zones, they only have 2 seasons, but it could be the dry season or the wet season, and we have floods. It could be terrible. However, in that, from the tragedy and from the fear and from the struggles, we create rituals, we create ceremonies, and we create this ceremony today we call the solstice. We also create a ceremony from the Jewish tradition in which the Maccabees they were on a 3-year siege. Remember now, they were oppressed by the military occupying their culture. And they went on a 3-year siege fighting for their freedom. And out of that experience came the beautiful celebration of Hanukkah, because the appearance of being out of oil and it's lasting for 8 days. Interesting, right? From the struggle came ceremony about light. Solstice, about light. Then we move on to Christmas. We know Christmas was born out of a tragedy. An individual who was literally nailed to the cross. However, from that, we're also, after Jesus' resurrection and after the day of Pentecost, as the Christians with very enthusiasm began to go out through the world, they were also persecuted and literally slaughtered. Out of that came a celebration of light, the Christmas celebration that we just recently experienced. Now I'm coming now to Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is a relatively new holiday. It was created by Maulana Karinga back in 1966. What was going on? It was a dark period for African Americans. We had been out of slavery for a little over 100 years. We had been through intense slavery, a slavery process in which the human beings were snatched from their native land, brought to a foreign land, and scientifically and socially stripped of all their knowledge of themselves. They were stripped of their culture. They could not speak their own language. They were separated into tribally, so they could not talk to each other. Their family life structure was broken down. They could not legally marry. They were stunted, even though some of these individuals who were stolen from the native Africa were scientists in their own culture and rights, and priests of great ancient value and history were taken here and they were dehumanized. They could not teach their own original native, not only language, but also their religions. So it was very strategically and thought out and scientifically, how do you make a slave out of a human being? By taking away all of their humanity and breaking it down. So that's the challenge that African American people came through. And then we went from that to the Civil War and the appearance of a freedom, and then through a political play, through Congress, we went then from there to the great, we call it the construction and the deconstruction, which means that after giving people freedom, then they could create a social construct that limited them and limited their freedom. Then came the Civil Rights Movement to break through that. And then came what we call the Black Conscious Movement. And what was the Black Conscious Movement in which Kwanzaa was born out of? Kwanzaa was born out of the intention of reconstructing a people's culture, reconstructing a people's soul that had been raped and destroyed by the life experience circumstances I just mentioned. And we do know, even in your personal life as a human being, if for some reason a person have grown up in a negative environment, and through neglect and through harshness, they will carry that with them as an adult. We now call that adverse childhood experiences. They will then carry that pain if they're not healed into their adulthood. Then as a parent, what do they do to their children? That same pain, and what do they do in their marriage relationships? That same pain now, not by intention, but as subconscious nurturing, it comes out. Not only in their personal family relationships, but also in the social relationships. So part of the many things that was happening in the 1960s and 70s was the healing of this trauma, this historical trauma that's passed on not only subconsciously, but we also know it affects your very DNA, all right? Because our bodies have memories of pain and trauma. So that was the intentions of Kwanzaa, why it was created in the mid-1960s. So like the solstice, like Hanukkah, and like Christmas, Kwanzaa was created to be an answer to a human trauma and to bring about light. And part of that experience I want to quote from the great poet and songwriter, Lift Every Voice and Sing by James Weldon Johnson. It says, felt in the day that hope unborn had died. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast by thy might led us unto the light. Human beings, the spark of the divine, always growing, always challenging, always using the imagination, the mind to create what we need to feel whole and complete. So we take our imagination, we take our minds, we take the creativity as human beings, and we take what's in front of us and we make it good and we make it better. We are gods, individualized as you and I, co-creators of our life experiences, the ability to reimagine, to reformat a better life. Today's topic, self-determination. I have an acronym for you, SELF, self. That you and I are the same eternal life force as the divine. Individualized, we are the self, somewhat of a small self in our human content, but ever increasing awareness. We go from only identifying with our own self and our stuff, but we continue to grow and expand. That same eternal, evolving life force as the divine. So it's truly, as human beings, we're limited in our potential, unlimited in our potential, unlimited in opportunities. For we are the divine in person. So I want to encourage each one of us to remember, regardless of what's going on in our world today, whether it's a global pandemic or personal challenges, you too are a spark of the divine. You too have the ability to imagine a new world, to imagine good and ever increasing good. Not only do we want to survive, we want to thrive and feel whole and complete, back to the original spark of the divine in which we came from. Let us pray. So I encourage you once again to bring to mind whatever personal challenge you may be going through, in your personal self, in your household self, in your community self, and maybe your employment self. And I simply speak this word for us because we are one. And when I say the word I mean that eternal, infinite I. For I recognize there's this infinite presence that is known by many names, whether it's known by the names of Elohim, Yahweh, our Father, Allah, I, or the great I am, or simply love. But it is something that's infinite. It is our very creator and our sustainer, for it is our very life itself, the self, that same thing that we are, eternal, ever life force. And I speak this word knowing that because we are divine and children of the Most High God, expressions of the infinite, we have within us the ability to co-create a better world, a better life experience, not only for ourselves individually, but for our world collectively. And I'm so thankful to know this wisdom and to know this knowledge. So I give honor to those who came before us, those who prayed today into existence, and those who taught and passed on this divine wisdom and light, that there is that spark of the divine within each one of us, and that we have the ability to co-create and to reimagine a better world. And therefore, I speak this truth regardless if it's something going on with our physical bodies. Oh, let's reimagine. Let's see ourselves as whole and complete. And I speak this word right here and right now. It is so. And therefore, whatever is needed for the sustenance of our physical bodies, through spontaneous healing, or through the attraction of outer knowledge or professional help, we are whole, we are complete. Life, health, and vitality. And I speak this word of the wholeness of our emotional body. Oh, I know that emotion is a divine blessing and a gift of the divine. For it's that emotes us and expands our imagination, and it moves us from one stage of life to the other. And I pray that our emotional life is healthy, whole, and complete, and balanced, and propels us with passion and compassion for ourselves and for the world. And I understand there's the same truth for our intellect, the intellectual body, that we have the intellect of the divine. We are children and expression of the Most High God, the infinite expressing as us. And we attract and we express infinite knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And we attract into our lives beautiful friends and acquaintances and companions. And we find ourselves in circumstances, healthy romances, and abundance of finances. This is who we are. We are children of the Most High, expressions of the infinite. And I give thanks for this wisdom. I give thanks for this healing. I give thanks for this prosperity. I simply now release this word into that infinite law. The embracing arms of the Most High God, knowing that it is continuously and always saying, yes. And so it is for me, as it is for you, as it is for all that concerns us. So I give thanks that in this moment, this time, we have the wisdom to step beyond, outside of our individual selves, and into our larger self. We have the ability to open our hearts and our minds and let love flow in. Praise be to God. Praise be to God. And I'm so thankful that we are doing it now. Please join me in affirming. And so it is. Amen. Thank
you. Step outside and step within. Feel the breeze on your skin. Feel the love, it's trickling in. When you step outside, you step within. Step outside and step within. Feel the breeze on your skin. Feel the love, it's trickling in. When you step outside, you step within. Feeling rooted through the grass, stretch to touch the sky. Like branches in the wind, your mind is reaching high. Yeah, step outside and step within. Feel the breeze on your skin. Feel the love, it's trickling in. When you step outside, you step within. Step outside and step within. Feel the breeze on your skin. Feel the love, it's trickling in. When you step outside, you step within. Feel the sand, the grass, the dirt, the earth between your toes. Feel the peace, it's bubbling up. Don't fight it, let it show. Step outside and step within. Feel the breeze on your skin. Feel the love, it's trickling in. When you step outside, you step within. Step outside and step within. step outside, you step within. When you step outside, you step within.
Beautiful. Thank you, Zoe and Aaron. Music has been so wonderful today. It always blesses my soul, as I hope that it blesses yours as well. And so we want to recognize some people that we're seeing today via Zoom. We see Shelley Jean and Dawn Naff, Rev Linda and Robert and Jean Alden and Jessica Johnson and Rev Dawn and Paddy and Linda and Midnight. Hi, Midnight. Sorry, Linda, you're getting some love too, but and Lynn and Marion and Cynthia George and Joan and Michelle and Judy and Keith, Beverly, Elliot. Hi, Elliot, and Asaya, right? Asaya. Is that how I say your daughter's name? Aisha. Thank you. It's spelled a little differently. Hi, Aisha. And so the card that I have today that I picked out is just beautiful and goes so well with the message. I am impotent, and so it is. It is. Please join me as we gather for our offering. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And so it is.
So blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed. So blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed.
So today, as we come to a close, something that came to mind was like, free ourselves, the rest will follow. So as we show up as ourselves and free ourselves, it allows us to make our unique contribution to the radical reimaging and remaking of our societies and the world. And as Kaleem was mentioning, the song Lift Every Voice and Sing, the African American anthem, there's a special part that truly speaks to me when it says, facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. For the only God that you and I will ever know is the one that we choose to embody. And so it is.
I shine, feet dance, heart sing, when given a chance, spirit loves to dance, 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 spirit loves to dance.
Repeat after me. I am one with the highest power.
I am one with the highest power.
I am one with God within.
I am one with God within.
I am one with all of creation.
I am one with all of creation.
We are family.
We are family.
And so it is.
And so it is. Eyes shine, feet dance, hearts sing, when given a chance.